What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. Over the last couple of weeks, we've heard a ton about the upcoming Fantastic Four project, all the murmurings that come with the earliest parts of pre-production over at Marvel Studios, and now a brand new report from industry insider Mikey Sutton indicating the First Family aren't the only ones headed for their own solo outing, as Marvel Studios intends to make way for the Silver Surfer in his own solo film. We're going to break down exactly what it says in the report, and then we got a chance to talk to Mikey himself, see what he has to say about this and what it means for Marvel Phase 4 in a greater sense. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel related stuff, including a limited edition Infinity Saga box set. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So again, and as I said moments ago in the prologue, today's story comes from industry insider Mikey Sutton, who has been rather ubiquitous of late, his scoops being covered far and wide, both on YouTube and various other sources of media, making headlines at some major news outlets in Europe just last week. And one thing Mikey and I have in common is that we've both been writers for quite a while. His story today coming in the form of prose, so eloquently written, we're going to read it as such. It goes on to say his name is Norrin Radd, a young astronomer from Zenla. When Galactus suddenly appears, wanting and needing to consume his world, Radd makes a deal with him to prevent their existence from ending up in his digestive system. Radd becomes Galactus Herald, the Silver Surfer, his galactic scout, and searching for planets to feast on. The origin is among the classic tragedies in Marvel Comics during the Silver Age, and Kevin Feige is planning on adopting it as faithfully as possible for the MCU. According to several sources, Marvel Studios is developing a Silver Surfer solo movie that will have him traveling to Earth as a potential meal for his boss. Now that Galactus is being saved for a larger movie, he will likely only play a smaller role in this because the focus will stay on Surfer and the problems that await him when he finally gets to Earth and ends up battling Thor and the Thing on the streets and skies of New York. Now we got a chance to catch up with Mikey, as he is a friend of the channel, and talk about this story in specific, ask his opinion about what this means for Marvel Phase 4 in a greater sense, and what we kept coming back to was finally we were going to get a Silver Surfer story that was actually a Norrin Radd story instead of the character being shooed in loosely to a Fantastic Four movie, something that we've been waiting for this entire time, and something that of course Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios would know how to do right. It truly is a tragedy, the story of Norrin Radd becoming Silver Surfer, staring down the destruction of his planet and the loss of his love. He decides the only way to defeat this is to have this fate rendered on him alone, basically martyring himself for his planet's sake and entering into indentured servitude. And as he runs off to tell his girlfriend that, hey, I'm going to be leaving you now, I'm becoming the Silver Surfer, I always found this story to be so creepy and so cold. It's a very interesting arc for Silver Surfer to give up his humanity only to find it again, to save his love and his life, but not be able to retain the pleasure of that for himself, and instead be forced to travel the galaxy, endlessly rendering this fate on other planets and other living souls a circle for Norrin Radd indeed. And in a narrative sense, tragedy can be defined a lot of ways, but maybe none as bad. The ones that make you feel the worst are the ones where there's loss of potential, not just a hubris story or a sad turn of events. And in the case of Norrin Radd, the martyrdom really sticks out. It's resonated with the audience the way that it has, and for so long, because you find out in the opening pages just how good his life is, and the trade that he makes is so imbalanced, yet this is what leads to such a great story, and not just his ties to the obvious Galactus. However, that's a point that very obviously cannot be ignored, and when speaking to Mikey Sutton, he brought up specifically, when you see Silver Surfer, you know that Galactus is right around the corner, and one will lead to the other, and that's of course true. It's Galactus and his ability to imbue the power cosmic that turns Norrin Radd into the Silver Surfer in the first place, and when we see him, that means Galactus is right around the corner, and obviously that means Galactus will show up during his origin story movie if that's what they choose to do. But that's where you can't help but think about Phase 4 and Phase 5 in a greater sense, and really take a step back, try to figure out what Marvel's leading to here. Galactus is his own thing. If they're leading to a crossover event where he's the main culmination villain, that stands stands in lieu of something like Doctor Doom, some evidence that we have for that as well. It could be the case that Galactus is a long play, that they're setting him up for a sort of 10-year crossover, something like we saw with Thanos, that whenever we finally do see him, it'll be much further off than the implication or introduction during an earlier film, something like Phase 4. And Marvel Studios has enough time, enough bandwidth, and enough character access now to play this kind of long game. However, they have an extra hidden incentive to do so as well, and it's called Power Ramp. Eventually, you're going to have every most powerful character flying around the Marvel Cinematic Universe when you have Thor, Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock, Captain Marvel, all at the height of their powers. It's going to be rather insane, and eventually it just gets to the point where everybody's the most powerful character. If you go ahead and introduce Galactus over the next, say, 3 or 4 years, it's really hard to follow that up. And yeah, I would argue there are better villains and better villain stories, maybe none better than Doctor Doom, and it's Doctor Doom, in fact, that's the long play. But when it comes to Galactus, and of course not only his fan favoritism, but just the character in general, with the size and scope of how a battle like that would look, it would be super hard to follow that up in any time real soon. That's why I think the added bonus, the hidden incentive here for playing the long game with Galactus, is you don't run into that sort of power ceiling and power ramp where you have to have, like I said, 4 or 5 of the most powerful characters we've ever seen in the MCU flying around in the outer side of Earth's atmosphere, battling this huge galactic monster, only to lead into a really strong Baron Zemo story. You see what I mean? The top of the mountain is obviously Galactus, and that's why there has to be a subtle build towards him, but it doesn't mean we can't get Silver Surfer in anytime soon, and something like his own film or even Disney Plus series where we could build the character of Norrin Radd out, or at least get the storytelling required to impart what's really creepy, really cold, and really cool about the Norrin Radd story, and even more importantly, give him a compelling and understandable reason to end up on Earth, which, if you remember, should have, probably could have, would have happened during Infinity War, and almost did. It was at least thought about at one point when Hulk crashes through the Sanctum Sanctorum. That's actually meant from the comics to be Silver Surfer warning of Thanos, but we've obviously missed the boat at this point. It doesn't mean that he couldn't come to Earth looking for a meal for Galactus, but maybe there's got to be a deeper reason to that, a reason that he runs into Thor first, and maybe Thor leads him here to New Asgard. And as we've said many times before, there's been rumors of Silver Surfer showing up, and especially real recently, as we've reported on here at the channel in the last couple of weeks, during Thor 4 Love and Thunder, there's a specific storyline involving Loki where he's tricked into thinking Thor's an enemy, but that's so far down the road from being introduced to who Norrin Radd is. I just don't think Marvel Studios wants to make the same mistake of introducing us to Silver Surfer before we get the backstory about Norrin Radd, and I think that's the big takeaway from this story from Mikey Sutton, is that Marvel Studios knows better than to do that, and that's why they're going to go ahead and prioritize him into his own solo film. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments about all of this. A, would you be for a Silver Surfer solo movie, or do you think that origin story is just a little too short to work into a full feature-length film? I feel like we've gotten so used to all Marvel movies being right around the 2-hour mark at this point that, you know, movies can be a little bit shorter, especially if it's what the story calls for. I've also heard rumors of this being put into a Disney Plus series, but again, that doesn't seem to make sense, as you could put all of this into almost one episode. Maybe if it was part of a greater series, an anthology series of goings-on in the cosmic MCU. By the way, Marvel, if you're listening, that's a great idea. You could definitely do that. There's a lot of mini stories for characters, some we know, some we don't, that should play into upcoming stories that would fit perfectly into little 1.5 hour one-shots. Either way, however Marvel Studios choose to do it, I'm sure they will do it justice. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. Again, big thank you for Mikey Sutton for taking time to talk to us here at Everything Always. And quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at 600,000 subscribers. We're headlong into that, could easily hit that by month's end or definitely next. All you have to do to be entered to win, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and that'll automatically enter you to win all the rest of the prizes at the channel, like the limited edition Infinity Saga box set. We gave the first one away on New Year's Eve. We'll be giving this one away on the 2nd year anniversary of the channel in the end of April. All you have to do to be entered to win the PlayStations, the Infinity Saga box set, or any of the other prizes we announce here at the channel is we will be doubling down all the way up to $1 million over the next couple of years. And of course, we always do giveaways for DVDs and tickets with as many movies movies that are coming out from Marvel, DC, and Sony over the next 2 years. We'll be doing a ton of those. If you want to be entered to win any of the stuff, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, leave a like and a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, and if you've missed any of the past winners, especially the ones real recently, no worries. All you have to do is scroll back through the channel, look for the winner announcement and the sub count in the title, click that, and scroll to the end. My name's Michael Roman. This is Everything Always, guys. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.